sex, you're doing it wrong. I want to riff about sex today. It's been very present in the collective and the tribe, the community I've been a part of this whole weekend. And this is a topic I've actually never talked about on live video, so I think I'm ready. It's very present for me. It's coming in strongly, pun intended. So I'm gonna wait for a few moments here to get everyone on. I want to see the fam here. Tuning in, y'all. What's going on? So, some of you that have been following me might know I am in Santa Cruz right now, and I was up in Scotts Valley this weekend at 1440 Multiversity, a beautiful alternative learning campus and epic venue for our retreat, which was Mystic Misfit Multiversity. And it was an epic event, retreat partnering with my boys Ryan and Jordan, as well as Frank J., Tyson, and Daniel Eisenman of International Tribe Design and Breaking Normal. And we had this epic event where we basically brought together all the modalities in bioenergetics, breath work, and really creating the future of tribal interaction and communication and doing that authentic relating. And so, funny enough, at the same time as our event this weekend, this is crazy, was the Radiant Intimacy Conference. It's put on by a brother I met, Maurizio, who runs the Science and Non-Duality Conference, and JP's a friend of his who made a cameo at our retreat. But it's basically a panel, a conference all about intimacy, radiant intimacy, and the keynote was given by Esther Perel, one of the leading relationship experts in the world right now. And so that was a mind-blowing talk that we went to on Saturday night. And wow, the weekend was incredible. Anyone tuning in right now, hello. I love you. Thank you for joining. Drop a location in the comments. Where are you tuning in from? We're connecting all over the world right now on this beautiful topic of sexuality and what it means to have sex and be an erotic being. And I want to tell you that I was doing it wrong, so I imagine you're probably doing it wrong as well. So this weekend we have our retreat going on, you can imagine, and this Radiant Intimacy Conference, and it was so just beautiful and powerful because there was a lot of energy at this place, right? This campus up in the Redwoods. And we went to Esther Perel's talk, and I've seen Esther speak before at the Bulletproof Conference and also at Lewis Howe's Summit of Greatness. And so I was just like, whoa, this is epic. Esther Perel, total G. Like, there's really something going on in Europe about how they deal with sexuality and how they deal with relationships. And for her speaking to an American audience, you know, she's very funny and witty and sharp. And so I want to share some of the downloads from her and really my understanding of sex being, you know, someone very interested in Tantra and someone studying and practicing it for some years now, both in the yoga tradition and in the relating and intimacy tradition. So what do I mean by you're doing it wrong? Well, Esther was bringing up the very insane data that a majority of young boys age 12 to 18 are receiving the mechanics, the setting, and the set, both the mind and emotional set for sex through pornography. And so there's something very interesting and perhaps catastrophic happening to the youth of men. And I can say this as a former pornography user. I haven't used it in some time, but there's something about it that is very mechanical, robotic. The breath, the connection, eye contact, communication is not there. It's often aggression sourced in insecurity, not in power, not in love, but aggression and a lot of like very fast twitch, forced movements. And the partner, as Esther points out, the women in these videos are always into sex and they're always moaning, they're always loving it. And however, this is not the reality, as many of us know in relationships. It makes no sense. And it's not the case. It's much more dynamic than what pornography presents. So that's one, is that if you're learning how to have sex in pornography, you're most certainly doing it wrong. And I really want the men out there to hear this. You're doing it wrong. Ask any woman you know if that is how she wants to be made love to. I am guessing you're going to get not only a no, you're probably going to get a fuck no. So just so you know. And anyone watching this, share this video right now if you're feeling me, and also like type some questions, your takes in the comments. What do you think about pornography and the state of sex and intimacy right now? Because I found out how much I was doing it wrong. Another big insight from Esther. Across heterosexual and homosexual couples, guess what the biggest turn on is? Does the woman get turned on when the man, or does the feminine get turned on when the masculine is aroused? Almost all of the polarity and passion and intimacy comes from when the woman is turned on. And this is very deep in evolutionary biology. The transmission of oxytocin release and intimacy and safety. Really, it's the more safe she feels and the more turned on she becomes, the more the man or the masculine energy will be turned on, and she'll turn on other women. So this is some next level shit, men. And I really want you to hear this. I'm targeting the men here, although I know there's a lot of women. I hope you'll tag a man in your life in this video, because people need to hear this. The woman needs to be really opened up and heart-centered and relaxed and safe to be fully turned on into intimacy. And so the rushing, feeling good at the beginning of like, oh, we're about to have sex, and then going through mechanical processes, positions, techniques. I know for me as a man, and I think a lot of men out there, we can get stuck in our head for this, because a lot of men have performance anxiety, and this is okay. This is the conversation and dialogue that is inspiring me to make this video. It's okay to have this, and also realize that this is a communication you need to have with your partner. This is a communication. This is a dialogue you need to have. You need to understand what each of you is wanting out of the sexual interaction. And so Esther was talking about how when the woman is turned on, the whole situation opens up. And this is across heterosexual and homosexual couples. Thousands of people interviewed, both men alone, women alone, and men and women. And what's funny is across all domains, across all types of relationships, the number one thing the men are seeking is to please. They want to please the woman. That's at the heart of it. Because as we know, the male orgasm is very quick and just like, whoa, and it's this explosion. But the female orgasm is a lot more subtle, and especially if you want to reach multiple orgasms and go into this state of just bliss. Or to call in another epic speaker that we actually had the pleasure of interviewing is Sasha Cobra. She describes it as orgasmicness. And this is a healing state of being, an altered state of profound sensation, of profound energy and insight and connection. So sex, how I was doing it wrong, and I imagine you might be doing it wrong, men, is forcing positions or techniques or practices to be a better lover and to last longer and to give your partner more pleasure. And what I have found in my own relationship, shout out to my lover, love you, Hannah, and shout out to past lovers that I've experienced this with, is not even checking in with the woman about what she actually wants. Because I think most women out there, they're not in it for all these orgasms and all these experiences unless they're connected, unless they're opening and deepening the intimacy. And so without having that conversation, I have gotten stuck in a performance or a way I look or the way I show up or this position or this breathing technique, all this stuff. And this kind of headiness and self-awareness actually prevented me from actually connecting and not even knowing what my partner wanted. So you're doing it wrong if you're focusing and forcing something you read in Cosmo or a type of technique or ability. You don't need to actually be in that space. You need to be in a more space of dialogue. And here's the number one thing that we've learned. And shout out to Jordan and Alexa of the Kaleidoscope for talking a lot about this. And the number one tip Sasha had, who's a very powerful sexual healer and tantra teacher, is slow down. Slow down. When you think you're going slow in sex, something profound she said in our video yesterday, when you think you're going slow, especially for the men, go even slower. Go even slower and check in. Because your partner is feeling you on subtle and energetic levels, not just physical levels. And all that preventing of like not wanting to come too quickly or being worried about the sensitivity or being worried about how you look, how you're acting, how you sound like, slow down, make eye contact, breathe, stop, get still for a moment. And Sasha had a beautiful analogy of describing sex, just like music. The greatest composers and artists, the silence in their song is just as much a part of their experience and part of the audience's experience. And so the silence and the stillness and the lovemaking act is just as important, if not more important, than the actual act itself and the actual, act of penetration, and not the whole set and setting, the whole erotic context in which it's unfolding. And so, men, I believe you need to hear this. Slow down, and if you think you're going slow, slow down even more. Slow is fast, as I know I've heard the Navy SEALs say, and some of the elite special forces military teams. Slow is fast. And smooth, slow interaction is something it's gonna get you really far in intimacy. And so anyone tuning into this video, type into the comments right now what you're vibing with, what you're feeling, any questions. I want to engage with you guys and see about this dialogue, because it's very potent right now in the collective. I can feel it. A lot of people I'm dealing with are feeling it. A lot of the attendees at our retreat were feeling it. A lot of my clients have been feeling it. And I myself in my relationship have been feeling this strongly. Sex, when it's forced and rushed, is not doing it right. It's not about getting to a goal. It's not like the other things in our life where we need to complete something or get to a certain point. It's much more about the feeling, and feeling it as you're doing it. That's why we do it, is to feel our whole body get really charged and open and powerful, so we can actually connect with someone. And this is big, y'all. This is really big, because it has to do with how are you showing up to your partner? How are you showing up in that experience that's incredibly vulnerable, but that's also where the power is. And so something Sasha was saying, and something the other sex therapists there were saying, is stop. As the man, if you're about to come, completely stop. Just stop. And that's okay. There's this idea that I inherited from pornography and from culture and the mainstream, toxic, I'd say, styles of sexuality and relationship, where you have to perform a certain way and have this explosive firework finish. This isn't true. So something very interesting is happening there, where are you rushing to a conclusion? And could you enjoy the walk the whole way? Could you enjoy the walk the whole way as you take it? Wow. So shout out to everyone on here. Beth, imagine if all men were vibing like this. I mean, I'm vibing like this. A lot of the men I surround myself vibe like this. And I think a lot of men out there are seeking this. And so I'm really interested in providing the pathways for that. Leah, thank you. Beth, where are all the men that know this? Maybe you haven't asked for them. How to handle insecurity during the experience? Well, that's probably a dialogue with your partner of becoming very clear and very open and aware to why you're having the experience, setting intentions, and also laughing, having fun. It's play. The element of play and not seriousness is super important. So I'm curious about this sound. I've been noticing this on Facebook Live. What's going on with the sound here? Tris, what's up, brother? It's time men dialogue, share, and bring light to these prevailing sexual shadows. Wow. Wow, that's a huge one. The sexual shadows, the shadow work that's being done. We actually had a men's circle. The first time we've done a actual men's circle at our retreat, and this was a huge opening that we were feeling during the men's circle. And so, wow, that was potent. I think men really could benefit from this. Wow. So yeah, the men in your lives, maybe tag them in this video, like, share, and comment on this video to continue this dialogue. I want to hear what you have to say. And I should say, although I may not get to all your comments, I do read them. So please, share what you are feeling here. Share this video if you're feeling and vibing on it. And make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications for my live broadcast. I'm going to be going more and more and more into this topic, feeling into this topic, and practicing it most of all. As my highest intention is to practice this topic, to activate it, and to bring up this energy and this power to the collective. And it comes through us as men. Really, to the men out there, I want you to hear this. Sex is about radical intimacy. It's a magical experience that can heal you. It can heal your partner. And so, have the conversation. This has been my dialogue, my invitation, my blessing. I love all of you. Mahalo, mahalo for tuning in. Aloha, aloha from Santa Cruz.